Hello and welcome to the Wednesday, December 3rd Ether Diver stream. Today we are looking at my latest acquisition. Let me get my headphones on so I can hear what I'm doing. I might double up a little bit. Probably look at a few new features of the Ableton 12.3 update as well. Get my microphone in the right spot. All right. Okay. So, I don't know how many of us there are here right yet. Looks like maybe just one person, or maybe that's me. I don't know. But we can just bring up live, and so this is the model H3000 factory Eventide. This is the Mark II plugin. There's an older version that I want to say came out like in the 90s, question mark, or maybe the early aughts. It's probably the early aughts. There wasn't too many VSTs at all that existed in the 90s, maybe none. It's a long time ago. I get the dates mixed up. It was definitely the end of the 90s when that stuff started to appear, early aughts, but I don't remember exactly. Anyway, there's an older version of this plugin. This is the Mark II version. It came out about a year ago. I didn't really pay any attention to it then. I'm sure like when it was released, I sort of was like, okay, whatever. In general, I try not to use a ton of external effects. Or to buy them. I find that, let's see how to put this. So if you have it might be different for different, hey Rabite, and hey Swarm, you guys, thank you, or you all, sorry, not you guys. I'm not sure of everyone's gender identity, and I know guys is not really considered neutral outside of the narrow context that I grew up in. And it wasn't really gender neutral then, was it? We were just excluding women and non-binary folks. But hello, folks. Yeah, no, it wasn't early 90s for sure. It would have been the very late 90s if it was in the 90s at all. If I said early 90s, that was just tongue-tied. It would have been the very ass end of the 90s, like 99, or early aughts, like 2002, 2003. I could be wrong about that too. It might not even been until like 2010. I know it's an older plugin. That's what I know. And the actual hardware version of this is from the 80s. So this was one of the first digital like super multi effects. There were two Harmonizer or two H whatever's before this. This might have been the first one that was called the Harmonizer. And they actually sell versions of that, of some of the other older ones as well. And this might not have been the first Harmonizer. I'm riffing a little bit here. I'm working off the top of my head. I didn't do any research. Yeah, right. And I also had a DOS version of Fruity Loops, or maybe it was Windows 3.1 version of Fruity Loops would have been the mid 90s. So yeah, there was definitely some stuff going on there. Yeah. And I had Cakewalk for sure also in the 90s. You were probably using a DOS version of Cakewalk. I don't think that, you know what, the more I think about it, the more I think Fruity Loops was Windows only. It came out for Windows 3.1, or Windows, actually wouldn't have been 3.1, it probably would have been XP or Windows 2000. Yeah. Boy, those were the days where you had to put RAM on your sound card. Well, anyway, hardware version of this is from the 80s. This is, or was, I don't know if it's still, I mean, obviously a lot of years have passed. This was, at the time of the era, this was Brian Eno's favorite effects unit. And if I remember my industrial history correctly, I believe it also features heavily on a bunch of Wax Trax records. Revolt and Cox and Ministry and that kind of stuff. My Life with Thrill Kill Cold. I think that they had a harmonizer, H3000 harmonizer as well. I'm not as sure about that one. I know Brian Eno was a big fan. He actually wrote a letter to the Eventide people talking about how great this thing was. I think it's on their site if you're interested in reading it. So yeah, this is the partial answer to the question of why does my DX7 not sound like Brian Eno's DX7? The other part of the answer, the other big part of the answer is that Brian Eno is programming his DX7 and not you, and you are not Brian Eno. And the other part of the answer is, of course, that it went on to 2-inch tape through expensive plate reverbs and LA262 compressors and all that fancy shit to make it sound the way it sounded on the records. But this right here, this plugin is a big part of that. Why it does not sound like that. Well, your sounds, you know, when you go buy a synthesizer that he likes and it doesn't sound like that. This is part of the reason why. Okay, so that's probably enough background. I mean, I know you guys love listening to me talk, but let's play with some effects, right? So this bragged about coming with most of the original presets. I don't know. I mean, if the numbering is weird, but it certainly implies there's a bunch of gaps, but maybe a lot of these weren't really worth porting. I don't know. Or maybe I think they broke the reverbs out. It took the reverbs out, sell them separately. I know that there is a separate plugin you can buy that has the multi-band delays, which is like a delay with a bunch of bandpass filters in front of it, so you can send different, or series of delays with different bandpass filters, so you can send different bands to different delays and things. And they broke that out into its own effect because, you know, they wanted more money. And I will say, so this thing in the 80s probably cost like what a nice new car would cost. It was, I don't know what it actually cost. I could look it up, but it was not cheap. It was definitely like a studio defining piece of gear, way beyond the means of anyone's home studio who wasn't simply independently wealthy, you know, some rich kid who just wanted to buy what the record producers had. It certainly wasn't something that was in many home studios, if any home studios. And even to this day, the hardware of this is ridiculously expensive. Like if you go on eBay and look up H3000, the hardware is crazy expensive. Like not quite CS80 levels or whatever, but like vintage gear that everybody wants levels for sure. You can't just like go pick one of these up cheap at a garage sale or whatever. So point of that being that I'm okay with the fact that they're trying to squeeze a few extra dollars out of this or whatever. It's okay with it in the sense of like, what can you do? But this was $80 on sale. This is probably what I should spit out. I think it goes for $200 normally, $199. But it's a Black Friday sale. They put this thing on sale at least 2 or 3 times a year because I know I saw it 4 months ago on sale for the same $79 price, or $79.99, so $80 price. And this time I had a little money burn a hole in my pocket, and I was talking, I think I made a post on Mastodon about it, and someone pointed out that I just sounded excited about it, and that I should just, you know, that if I was excited about it, maybe I should just get it. And, you know, I figured for $80 as a historical artifact alone, it might just be worth, you know, picking up, checking out. Okay. I screwed around with this a little bit last night to find some effects to start, but I'm pretty bad at planning things. I have severe ADHD, so so actually the shimmer reverb did come from this effect. He helped popularize it, but according to Drew Schlesinger is the guy. He's one of the guys who made presets for this. He's the one who invented the shimmer reverb. This Drew Schlesinger guy is. It was one of the presets on this. But yeah, I think, you know, helped popularize it with one of these. Okay, so let me show you what I got going on here. I just took it. These are just We'll pull some other samples up to process them too. This is just something to get started. This is okay, so that's a Volca drum loop. It goes like that. It gets just a tiny bit weird at the end. Mostly play. See, it gets a little squirrely at the end. And then this other loop is just a friend of mine hitting a little hand drum. So it's just going to act as just a little. So we got a drum loop, synthetic drum loop, and a little hand drum loop, percussion loop, to try out through some of these. I'm turn the loop brace on, and turn this on. Okay, I think this is one of the effects I was playing with last night that sounded pretty cool. So let's see. Yeah, that just kind of like toughens it up a bit. This kind of interesting stereo effect. Okay, let's try it on our percussion loop. So this is a pretty subtle effect, obviously, but definitely, like, I mean, you can probably already see just from that first effect maybe why people like this thing a little bit. It definitely very characterful. And can turn some pretty unremarkable material into something kind of special. So this is actually, this micro pitch shift is apparently like one of the most famous presets. I think that's this one, right? Or is it? Yeah, I think it must be this one. And it's just like a fattener, widener. It's a studio effect, if you know what I mean. So it's not a sound design effect. It's sort of out of scope, technically, of what we're talking about. But, you know, I thought it'd be fun to look at some of these presets. And so these are both actually stereo files, although the Volca drum one is probably only technically stereo. It's dual mono. This one is stereo because I recorded it with a stereo mic, probably a similar thing to what I'm recording this on right now, like a little cheap Zoom thing. So not a crazy stereo image, but it is a stereo image. And then this micro pitch shift adds like a nice, really wide stereo. So I just want to look at some of these vintage effects. Oh, I think this flying saucer one was pretty wild. So this would be fun, I think, to automate. And this one definitely gets more into the sound design elements, where you're transforming what's going on pretty thoroughly. No, Blur, it's super cheap. If it was yeah, you mean like for testing on the thing? We can try that out. Blur, this is not as expensive. Yeah, $80, right. Swarm is on top of it. $80 is if it's still on sale. If it's not on sale, it normally goes for $200. You can check it out at eventide.com. This is not sponsored, by the way. I spent my own American dollars on this that I earned doing real work, if you consider writing for money to be real work. Yeah, this is not sponsored in any way. Eventide has no idea I'm doing this. This is just me. But yeah, if it's gone, if the Black Friday sale is over, it's $200. If the sale's still on, it is $80. I think it's a steal at $80. At $200, it's still very powerful, but there's a lot of badass effects plugins and packages you can buy for $200. So, I mean, even this, like, I was on the fence between buying this and the Arturia effects collection, which is on sale for $99 for me because of all the other Arturia stuff that I own. And even though the Arturia is a much better, much bigger package, much better deal, I went ahead and went with this, because of its historical interest, and because this is, frankly, this is the one I was kind of excited about playing with. So, yeah. There's another sound assigning one. And see, like that, it just makes this drum's really juicy. They just have this weird, like, overhanging presence now. So this is pretty cool shit, man. It's got a ton of these effects where it's like, oh, it's a CB radio. Oh, turn my loop brace off. What? So if you ever, if you need an effect like you're putting it through the CB radio, you got that. That's fun, right? And so this bank here, this is all the these are the legacy ones. This is what actually came with the OG. Thank you, Swarm of Insects, for your kind words about well, not necessarily just my work as a writer, but the work of writers. It is unappreciated work. Some people definitely do not feel like it is actual work, and that's, whatever. People they can have their opinions. What does drum wheeze sound like? Okay, yeah, that's accurate. That is a drum wheeze. We'll just do a few more of these legacy ones, and then we can get into some of the more modern stuff too. Oh, I feel like this Boogaloo one was kind of cool. Yeah, this is like a crazy stereo. Different stereos. Different stereo effects on different delays on either side of the stereo field. Pretty wild. It's got some, you can like trigger with MIDI a bunch of the sound effects and stuff like that. Oh, this one I feel like was pretty wild. Yeah, this is just like a weird spinny head around the head, spinny kind of effect with delays. Kind of adds a syncopation as well there. I mean, so, and these are like the factory presets from the 80s, right? Yeah, right, exactly. And that's why, percussion loops are like one of the easiest things to kind of show. What kind of weird, fucked up things you can get up to with it. Here's the little wah-wah effect for percussion. That's a bit wild. On a percussion loop, though, it's kind of interesting. On the full drum loop, it's a bit much. Digital delay, plus wah, plus micro pitch. See, this gets into some pretty sound designy stuff. Here, actually, let's try this little... Try this new feature here. Go paste bounced audio. So, this is a little feature that was just added in... I'm going to turn this one off. Just added in Live 12.3. Now you can't really tell because the delays are cut off there. Oh, there we go. So you can now. So any of you who watched my first sampling and sound design video, you might remember I had this process where I would use a loop brace like I'm doing here, and then I would just record onto another track, like have this track feed into another track that I would, when I found something cool I liked, I could just record it. So this iteration of Ableton comes with a fucking badass little workflow hack called paste bounced audio, where if you've got a bunch of effects on something, you can like we do here, right? We have this Eventide effect on, so I can just grab a section of it, copy, and then go to another track or wherever, and instead of choosing regular paste, I go down here to paste bounced audio, and then see, there you go, it's got the effects built into it. Cool, huh? All right, I just wanted to show that. That's just a really handy tool for sound design stuff. I'm really excited to incorporate that into my workflow. It's not the kind of thing that's like wow when you see it, unless you do a lot of this, in which case you're like, wow, that's gonna fucking speed things up so much, because it's kind of silly to think that you're being slowed down by having to hit the record and making sure that everything's right, and then deciding, yeah, that's good enough, and hitting record, and then adjusting. It's much easier, and then moving it away. It's just much easier to copy and then paste, right? I mean, that's about as easy as it gets. I used version 9. There's a guy I used to tutor who used version 9. He probably is still on version 9. So I'm well familiar with that one. I actually got started on 10 most recently. I've tinkered with it going way, way back, but when I actually decided to use it for real, I got version 10. But the changes are pretty minor. I do find that every iteration has one or two things that I'm like, oh yeah, I can't live without that. Although it's rarely a new effect or anything, it's almost always a workflow thing. Like comping came in 11. That's hugely, this paste, bounced audio, stuff like that, and some of the resampling things that come out. Anyway, but yeah, let's look at more effects. What is kamikaze delays? What's that sound like? Pretty fun. Micro pitch with a slapback. Excuse me. Does some distortion effects too. I feel like there's one other one. I wanted to show off in here. I don't remember what it is, so okay. So outside of those effects, they split up all these into various different categories, but it might be fun. Ooh, what is Alessandro Cortini? That's pretty wild. So if it isn't obvious, I guess we could get into this a little bit too. This is so this mirrors the hardware of it. This is just like a macro control. You can program it via these soft keys to do whatever. A lot of times it's just doing a single thing. In this one, it's probably doing a bunch of different things because Alessandro Cortini, he's a weirdo or whatever. I have not messed with this yet, but you can do this, program in presets and jump to them, basically. Okay, and I don't. So the current is states of the current effect. So you would be like, oh, I like what it sounds like right here, and then so you would save a current one, and then maybe go to 2, and then make some adjustments and save it, etc., until you have a bunch of variations of the same one that you can then jump through with these, and then the global ones jump between different effects, and specific settings of different effects, I think. But yeah, okay, so that was wild. Let's look at another. Let's look at Glass Digger. Let's see, what does Glass Digger do? Oh wow! Listen to that. So yeah, so this is what I'm talking. This is like the sound designy stuff. Glitchy delay. Okay, Barry. Let's see. So there's some more of these people down here. I'm just looking down the list till I see. I know Richard Devine's on here. We can look at Richard's. I'm sure most of you or all of you know who Richard Devine is. So that's supposed to be Tycho Hub. I don't understand that question. But maybe. That's a pretty cool effect. I feel like maybe at some point too we should do something that isn't just it obviously can fuck up drums real good, and I think we've established that pretty well here. Let me see if I can find some simple synth sounds and show you what it can do to those. What is this here? Okay, so that's just a dry sound. Audio effects. Sorry, plugins. Eventide H3000. Let's just try something like the micro pitch shift. I mean, it's just... Oops. Okay, so without... Sounds pretty good. It's a reasonable synth sound. With... I mean, this... I'm not surprised that this is one of the most famous settings. This is what I like to call a sound goodizer. Oh, cool. I will check that out. Yeah, for sure. For glitch pop, hyper pop, something like that. This thing is new Savant IM90. Oh no, that sounds awesome. I did not realize anyone had made living room music. Asks, thanks for doing this. Have you checked out the new Savant IM90 Publicin Infernal Machine? I had not heard of that. I know what the Publicin Infernal Machine is because I'm a big fan of Jamie Liddell, and he talks about it all the time. He loves that fucking thing. So I'm very curious. This would probably cover a lot of similar territory, I expect. And And yeah, if this is still on sale, maybe I should just check and see if it's on sale. Yeah, it was the original H3000. This is literally one of the most famous effects units of all time. It is hugely and like correctly, I would argue. I'm checking the price of this right now because it's silly for me to be like, it might be. Oh, they're currently offering a free, or about to offer a free download. Hey, it is still on sale. Okay, so right now you can go to eventideaudio.com and pick this bad boy up for $79 if that is what you are inclined to do. And I want to say that the band delays is $49 if you wanted to add that, which I was thinking I wouldn't need it, but the more I play with this, the more I think, I don't know, maybe a little more of this wouldn't be so bad. Okay, so we've answered the question. It is still on sale for $80. But yeah, lots and lots of bands use this. Like, I think this is all over, like, My Bloody Valentine. I'm pretty sure Kevin Shields used it. I could speculate, but I don't know. Maybe why speculate? I bet there's a fucking Wikipedia page. Let's see. Oh, there's a Reverb article on it. See, if I was smart, I would have read this before. But I guess rather than trying to like read this stuff to you or skim it and regurgitate it to you, I'll just say that if you are interested in the history of this hardware, there is a ton of information available for it because it's a very famous piece of hardware. Okay, let's try. We've established the micro pitch shift makes our synthesizer sound sweet. What's this Gregorian chant? Same. It doesn't make it sound the same, but I make it the same deal as in, yep, that sounds fucking great, man. Yeah. I'm officially willing to call this a sound goodizer. And a sound goodizer in my mind is a effects unit or module or process that pretty much whatever you stick into it makes it sound good, right? So you've got something that's, say, noisy and interesting and weird, but it doesn't really sound good. It kind of sounds like ass. You stick it into the sound goodizer and it sounds good. It just makes everything sound better. So amongst my tool set, the things I consider sound goodizers include the Make Noise Morphogene and Rossum Pan Harmonium in modular. They're just tools that you can dump any fucking thing into and make it sound better. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's see. I'm going to try out this sample that Swarm was kind enough to send us. Yeah, the H9000 rack is crazy. That's like the most current. That's their current iteration of this. Look and see what this H3000 still goes for used, even though it's, as you pointed out, the chips might be failing sooner rather than later. It still goes for crazy prices, the H9000 does. Okay, let's pull up Live, pull up Finder, put this into here. Okay, so this is a binaural file. It's processing. Let's zip this part off. Let's solo this and see what we got. And take some of that off too. We want more dramatic sounds. There we go. I think your file clips in a couple spots here. That's all right. Let's take some of the non-clippy parts. That's definitely something we can play with a little bit. Eventide on this one. Right, okay, so let's look at Richard Devine's stuff here. Let's try his glitch on it. Yeah, I mean, definitely this is... If you want to make glitchscapes, this is your baby right here. So while that does that, so we can look at this, in addition to using however many, how many I can't even think. Okay, so here's, I think this is the complete list of effects, right? Presets. This is the complete list of presets. So it's a lot of presets. Let's look at them alphabetically, so we don't know who's doing them. Sine Surfer. Yeah, and this is a really good way to fuck up your sounds, for sure. And look, there's even a whole sound design category, if you are looking for that. But yeah, definitely... What was I doing here? Alphabetical, which is fine. Cops and Robbers. What's that sound like? I don't know why this is Cops and Robbers, but it's definitely a weird sound. Yeah, this is... So I have to admit, I bought this like a week and a half ago. Nice. And you know, when the day I bought it, I loaded it up and basically went through some of the most famous presets on this legacy one that I knew about, just to kind of see what they sounded like in real life. That was one of my main interests in buying this thing, I admit, is just I have an interest in how records that I love were recorded. And so I was like, there was part of the impulse for me buying it. I was like, for $80, just being able to go through and recreate something, if not identical to, very close to the presets that kind of helped create some of my famous records. Even just having a lot of them built in already to the thing, to me, that's worth $80, basically. If I have the $80 to spend, which I did, because I got a job, well, not a job, but I got work, and booked some work over the last few months, and so I've had money, not a lot of money, but enough that I could spend $80 without feeling like I had done something terrible to my family. Some pretty funny names on these, for sure. But yeah, I think it also has, and I'm sure you guys can hear this, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but it has a. So they modeled the AD and DA converters, and so it has a kind of slightly dark sound to it, kind of a what would you call it? A vintage digital sound, I guess is what you would call it. And it's kind of nice. It's really pretty nice. I just that alone, it really adds some nice character to the stuff that you run through it here. Cyber Bowie. And this one's almost like a weird reverb or something. Okay, let's go back to our. Let's try some more synth sounds. I'm kind of curious here what. Okay, I don't know why this is. So that's that synth sound. That's so silly. I mean, that just completely transforms it. There's like almost nothing left of what's gone through the thing. Yeah, I think that you could definitely, if you are, like I said, I bought this mostly because I was like, maybe it'll be useful. It will be fun to play with to figure out what was going on back in the day, you know. Oh, that's pretty cool. So there's some really creative like effects that it covers a lot of ground. So it's got the like really subtle the subtle sound goodizers, let's say, which you might refer to those as like studio effects. Oh, cool. Yeah. Swarm says, Swarm Dead Insect says, oh yeah, it's basically my autistic special interest. See how music I love was actually made. So I don't know if I'm autistic or not. My kids are both basically autistic, so, or all three of them are at certain varying degrees. So I probably am as well. And I think my dad is. I've never been diagnosed. I haven't given it a huge amount of thought. I'm severely ADHD, and I know there's a lot of overlap with those things. So, but it's definitely one of my special interests as well, whether it's autistic or not. Yeah, for sure. The Droids preset is resynthesis. It seems like a fair number of these are resynthesis, where they're just like, cool, well, we'll take whatever you input as a, what does Lord of the Rings sound like? That's a ring modulator. That's nasty. Man, that's nasty. Wow. But yeah, so what I was saying, this has like your studio, kind of subtle studio sound goodizer effects where it's just like you can add it to the vocals, guitars, synths, kind of subtly on a send probably, and it's just going to make them sound better. It's going to make them sound more like a record. And then it's got the sound design sound goodizers where you know, the ones that are just a little heavier handed, but same idea, you just put whatever through it and it ends up sounding good. But then you also have the all this crazy sound design shit. What the fuck? I don't even know what's going on there. And you know, it's also probably worth noting. One of my tests for cool shit is if while I'm playing it, it makes me laugh out loud. You can hear that you can hear the laughter in my voice, and you've probably heard me laugh out loud several times. So that's cool shit. If I'm just like laughing in delight spontaneously by what it's doing, that's cool shit, man. It doesn't get any better than that, right? So yeah, maybe I'll hit a wall with this, who knows? But right now, I gotta say, this was a very good $80 investment. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this. I guess we're running out of time. I could just go through these presets all day, but we probably should at least take a quick look at the rest of the setup here and how this all works. Okay, so in addition to just selecting presets and affecting macros through these and jumping around, you can also program all this shit from the ground up. So it's basically, what you have basically here is a small modular system. You've got these, it's like 27 blocks of 14 types or something like that, and you can connect them in any way that you like to make various different stereo and mono effects. So you got 2 delays, 2 pitch shifters, 2 filters, 2 amp mods, scalers, 2 scalers, 4 mixers, 2 envelopes, 2 LFOs, and a function generator. And the function generator is, I have not looked into this, but my understanding is it's pretty powerful. It's like a programmable LFO. It lets you just do a bunch of modulation here. And then here's all the settings for all the different parts. Delay 1, delay 2, pitch shifter 1, pitch shifter 2. So you determine how they're organized here. And you can also, there's these here. This just gives you all those on a page. So rather than having to click on the delay to adjust the delay, you can go here and just adjust the delay, right? So this and this essentially show the same. This shows all of this at once, but not the order. This shows the order, but only one module at a time. And then this is for programming the function generator. Yeah, this thing is like, it's pretty wild, honestly, for $80. Like, I'm not sorry I spent it. Like, I was slightly concerned that I was gonna like play with it for 2 hours and then be like, okay, well, that's fun, and it's cool that I figured out that Brian Eno used this preset on this album or whatever. But ultimately, who cares? It's not gonna make it into my music. But there is a 100% chance that you will hear this on my next releases, next set of releases. I mean, I can't say for sure. Yeah, again, this is also that gross but good sound, right? Okay, so let's just, as a reminder, because it's been a minute since we heard it dry, let's hear that dry synth sound. It's a pretty characterful FM sound. Right, it's got some velocity responsiveness and whatnot, but it's it's a dry FM synth sound. It's not going to necessarily blow your mind. But now it's epic. Like, there's no, even before we put any reverb or other, just a single effect. Well, I mean, it's a big block of effects, but still. Clutter into chaos. I wonder if that's a typo or if it's like referencing someone's name or a joke or something that I don't understand. I don't know. Pretty cool, though. What does contemplation sound like? Well, that's very new age ambient bread and butter sound, right? Chipmunk Party. I bet I can guess what this is. It's just very silly. Oh my goodness. Harmonic tremolo. Yeah, yep. And yeah, I could try and program a sound on this, but I have to admit it's a little, I still don't know like what some of these functions even do. Like, what does full scale even do? And this one is sadly not one that's equipped with like the super best like tooltips or whatever, where I can just kind of hover over and then see on the fly what I'm looking at. So I guess all right. Yeah, I guess we're just going to play with presets for a few more minutes here until we're done. Instant Lo-Fi Junkie. That's a pretty good Lo-Fi Junkie effect. And you can tweak it too. Huge flanger. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Jungle pad phaser. Okay. Kick enhancer. Cobalt. What is cobalt? Lo-fi dual time and pitch shifter. Holy boy, you aren't fucking kidding. That is lo-fi. So, I mean, it's got some really nice, and it just has some really nice kind of core. What the fuck? I'm not even touching a key. This is just doing its own thing. It's pretty reasonable delay, or not delay, reverb simulation. Yeah, there's a lot of boards of Canada. Yes. It really is a swarm of dead insects. From an end-of-chain sound better to disgusting resynth in a good way. It pretty much covers every possible point on the effects spectrum, doesn't it? But yeah, and it also has some building blocks built in. And I probably will, the more I play with this and the more excited I get about it, I can almost guarantee I will do another video on it where I actually know what the fuck I'm doing, and less of like, hey, let's poke at the presets and see what this thing sounds like, and more like, let's get into the nitty gritty. I'll show you how to program a few patches. We'll take some of these apart, that kind of a thing. So if you are into this, subscribe and like and help me with the algorithm, blah, 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 all that jerk off stuff. I mean, if you subscribe to me, you might see when I have a new video going up. You can also just follow me on Blue Sky or whatever, and I tend to, or Mastodon, and I'll post it on there. I am trying to build up my subscriber base on YouTube, even though I never expect to really be monetized or make any substantial amount of money directly off YouTube. It does, having more subscribers and more views and stuff. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Does actually benefit me in some non-monetary ways. I think it helps more people see my content, higher rankings in the algorithm, stuff like that. So, you know, if you want to be nice and if you want to be nice and help me out, then that's great. And if not, that's totally fine. It's certainly no reason to like. Oh, that's nice. It almost doesn't sound like it's the same sound being echoed back, but wow, that's a heavy fuzz. Hey man, thank you so much for spreading the word about other people's music. A swarm of dead insects, that means a lot to me. Really, anyone, you know, if you're in here and want to help out in some way, like just sharing my stuff, whether it's on a social media site that we're both on is good. Taking my stuff to a social media site I'm not on, like I'm not on Facebook, so if you want to post any of my stuff, whether it's a streaming announcement or other people's music or my, synth information, like how to program. Oh, wow. God damn, that is cool as shit. See, that's what I mean by sound goodizer. I'm just playing like stupid simple chords and it's like turning it into it's got a whole thing going on here. I bet you could put just about anything through that. Now, speaking of sound, see, this is another one of the, like, this is why Brian Eno's DX7 sounded so good. Listen to that. Okay, without, it's clearly the same sound. It sounds pretty good. Like, I designed the sound. I'm not trying to talk shit on the sound. I'm happy with the sound. Turn this on. Oh my God. It just sounds so lush. Very cool. Very, very cool. But yeah, so anyway, like I was saying, yeah, you can share my stuff to a channel we're both on. You can share my stuff to a channel we're not on. That's really helpful. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not really on Instagram or Threads. I'm not on LiveJournal, Twitter, etc. So if you're on those sites and you want to like throw my stuff out there and be like, hey, here's a cool thing that I found on another site, it's really helpful and really cool. Monetary donations, always appreciated, obviously. Book me for work if you don't want to just donate money to me, but you need something, you need some sounds designed. Hey, I need a unique drum kit for this new album I'm doing, and I'm thinking something that's like electro-industrial with a bunch of glitchy percussion. I need, maybe like a bank of 64 sounds. Baby, I can do that. I could put that together for you in no time at all. Or you can just come and watch my streams and whatnot. That's honestly enough. You don't have to do anything more than that. Wow, that's nice. It's controlled by the mod wheel, I guess, but I'm not even. Jesus Christ. I mean, this is one of those things where you're like, it almost makes you sad about designing synth sounds when you know, like, you can just throw this thing, one of the Sound Goods presets on 2 saw waves that are barely filtered and detuned and nothing else done to them. And it's just going to sound like $1 million. Okay, I guess this is a good chance. Yeah, it does have very ELP kind of vibe going on there. I wouldn't be surprised if ELP used the fucking thing on some of their 80s albums. Yeah. I'm not sure if he ever had one, but I bet there was one in one of the studios that he worked in. Almost certainly. This was just such a... Every serious studio in the 80s had one of these fucking things, and into the 90s. Like, not necessarily, so if you went into Steve Albini's studio, not to say that Steve Albini wasn't serious, maybe he didn't have it because that's not his style. He's really into the analog stuff, and he might have thought, oh, this is, for pop producers, whatever. I don't know if he did or not. Maybe not his studio is what I'm saying, is all I'm saying. Not a studio like that that's a little raw, a little rawer, more whatever. But any studio that was producing pop records, mainstream rock records, mass consumption music, definitely had one of these if they could afford it at all. So, Rabbit, I don't know that there was any actual competition to this device. I think it was one of one. I think its only competition was whatever they made next, the H5000. I don't know what the next one in their series was, 3500, whatever. I don't think that there was any real competition for it in the market. I'm not sure that even to this day there's anything that's strictly, I mean, now you have all these plug-in effects multi-packages and whatever that can do all this, but like to have all this stuff in one box, and it was even, again, it was more capable. They definitely took some of the stuff out of this. Like, I think that the original one did reverbs, and this one doesn't really do reverbs. It's got a couple effects that are reverb-like, but and I could be wrong about that. Again, I do remember reading about shimmer reverb being invented on this, and there isn't. You can make a reverb out of delays and filters, and maybe that's what the shimmer reverb was, and that's all they took out was just the actual preset for it. I don't know if there was another effects block that was like a reverb algorithm. I don't know. I didn't do, like I said, I'm not Alex Ball. I'm not trying to like offer a true history lesson here. I'm just like, it's more like some fun factoids to throw in with while we play with presets. What the fuck? Okay. Yeah, this is so nice. Well, I definitely. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Because I could do this all fucking day. I really could. Let's get out of these noise generators. Okay. Yeah, Albini was quite a purist. More about the reverb. Yeah, I mean, so the Arturia FX collection is still on sale, by the way. If that's what you're talking about, Rabite. That maybe I should have looked at FX collection after all. It was your last comment there. It is still on sale, I think, through the rest of this week. The more Arturia products you have, the more on sale it is until a certain point, and then it sort of bottoms out. Which I only mention because I find a lot of people have, for example, an Arturia KeyStep or BeatStep Pro floating around somewhere that maybe they've never registered. And if you have never registered it, go register it, or a Microlab, something like that. Go register it before you go to buy the thing, because you'll get a discount. You get a better discount than the discount they're offering. Like, I think right now, if you are new to Arturia, I think you can get that FX collection for $200, like on sale. But if you are an Arturia existing commercial customer, you can get it for as little as $100. Like, that's the price for me, is $100. I own a lot of Arturia stuff, multiple hardware cents and multiple software packages as well. I own Pigments and V Collection. In addition to like 4 hardware cents. So, okay, I think that's it. Unless anyone has questions. This was really fun. This is a really cool effects unit. I highly recommend this. If you are interested in the history of this thing at all, if you are doing weird glitchy sound design at all, or even not glitchy sound design, but just sound design in general, I think it's pretty flexible. Definitely if you're doing the glitchy stuff, it is maybe indispensable. There's some pretty fucking wild shit in there. Like, I really got to dig into that some more. And it's a, for excuse me, a vintage effects unit that's supposed to sound vintage. It's got, like I said, it's got modeled AD DA converters. It just sounds really good, like, to my ears. My ears, I came up in the 80s and 90s, though, so maybe it just sounds old-fashioned to some 20-year-old or whatever. But to my ears, it sounds really fucking good. Like, you just put slap one of those, micro pitch or one of the choruses on a synthesizer, any generic synthesizer preset or sound that you whipped up in 15 seconds, and it just is gonna make it sound really fucking good. Yeah, so all right. If no one has any questions or anything else they wanted to say, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in and coming by. Hopefully, we'll see you next week. Once my kids are on Christmas break, I might end up trying to stream a bunch more because it gets really slow at the end of the year with other work and stuff like that. We'll see. We'll see. No promises, but yeah. And if you did have questions, yeah, this must have been nuts in the 80s. Like getting this thing in 1989 or 91 or whenever it fucking came out, just like mind blowing. Like, what? This is opens up whole new worlds of possibility. Yeah. Anyway, hopefully, I'll definitely see you next Wednesday. Might see you for additional bonus streams in the following weeks as we close out the year. Thank you all. I hope you had a lovely weekend and are having a lovely week, and I hope to see you next week. Take care, and again, like, subscribe, do all that stuff.